the lesser platinum male, pastel Herpide. There's my piebald. This is my blonde pastel, who's huge. She is pretty. Hey, this is Steve from BC Barker Creations, and as you can see, we're at Ailey's Castle, and we're going to show you guys how we breed mealworms. So here's, you guys you guys all know what mealworms are. When we get them, and they're, they look like that. Maybe slightly smaller or bigger or whatever, but so I would start with like 1,000 or 2,000 mealworms, because you're going to want to, depends on how many geckos you have too, but you're going to want to have some to feed and have some to breed. So I set them up. This is just oats, just regular oats, and I freeze my oats before I use them, because they could have moth larvae in there, so you want to freeze them and it'll kill that off, and then you won't have any issues. But so then you're gonna have these guys are gonna, you can see him real good?
Yeah.
So these guys are gonna turn into, I just had one.
I just put it in here.
Oh, did you? Is there any more? So every day I kind of go in and stir them around and move them around so there's nothing just sitting. But you'll find these guys in there. That's the pupa form. So then we take the pupas and we put them in a separate container. So you got all these, you got a good shot of them.
Yeah.
All those are pupas. And so we put them in here, and then we put a top on, and we keep them separate until they turn into the beetles. And there's no need for food or anything in here, and you probably don't even need the oats, but I just threw them in there in case the beetles hatch overnight and they got something to munch on after they hatch out. But so there's the pupas. So after the pupas, they turn, they metamorphose, or whatever you want to call it, into the beetles. And here are the beetles. There are some beetles, lots of beetles. So there's the beetles. So now beetles also eat the oats, and I throw some stale bread in. I also put carrots in, cat food. I also feed the mealworms cat food too. Like powdered. We use a coffee grinder to grind up the cat food, so that to feed these guys. And I just kind of, you see there's like a trace of it here where it's on top. I just kind of scatter it and they eat it. And for water, I give them carrots all the time. Once in a while potatoes. Potatoes tend to mold faster than carrots. Carrots seem to work pretty good. And then you can give them various other vegetables too. So this container is actually a big like a big screened strainer. You see the screen under here. The beetles are gonna mate and lay their eggs and everything in the substrate. The eggs will either fall down into the bottom, or the eggs will hatch and then the worms will fall down to the bottom. So, and one thing I already learned with this is you have to keep this moving. So every day I just come in and move it around so no mold can grow. There's no mold in here, and that's how I keep it from molding. Because you don't want to have mold growing. So we'll now the beetles are gonna breed, and then the eggs and the larvae or the worms are going to drop down into here. And I do the same thing with this. And you see every day I just move it around. Then there's no mold that can grow. And as you can see, there's some carrot pieces in here. And every day I give them, if I check and see if there's any carrots or whatever in there, then I give them a little more if they need them, or if not. But as you can see, there's a, this is the fresh one. I'll show you one that's, so there's mealworm, but there's thousands of tiny little baby mealworms in here that you can't see. Alright, let's put this over here, Al. Watch it. Okay, now this is the ones under this tub are going to be the smallest mealworms. These are the biggest. These are the ones that we're feeding our geckos. The first batch I showed you are the ones that we are feeding our geckos. And so that's actually, this is the oldest ones here. Then these are the next ones. Once those are gone, I'll be feeding off of these, because these are all, there's worms all over in here, and they're small, a little bit smaller. So they're coming up, you know, in the size. By the time the other ones are done, these guys will be ready to start feeding off. There's a lot more in here than you think. You see all the ones this size, which are small. There's some very, very small in here still. But there's thousands of them in here. Then just shine it over, or face it that way. There's another one that's younger yet, and then the ones under the beetles are the youngest. So I have, you know, four different sized worms, and there's about 1,000, probably a good 1,000 worms in each of these bins. That and you can see it all moving around in there. And there's a bunch of different sizes, because I'll leave a bin underneath the beetles for probably about a month or so. And so far we're doing pretty good. We're sustaining ourselves, but it seems to work. Like I said, I'll take these. This is just these tubs I got at Walmart. This is a regular tub. You know, this is a skinny one. This is the same size. The tops are interchangeable. But when I did it, I noticed that I could set this in there and there's room. And then I also saw it on David's Fine Geckos. That's why I opted for these containers. So I just cut out the bottom of this and put some screen on it with stainless steel bolts holding the screen, because and then a little strip of plastic. I didn't want to deal with glue and stuff that could come off, and I know that's not going anywhere. And these guys will, you know, there's, I don't know how many beetles are in here. There's a ton of beetles in here, but there's a ton of beetles. And then you know, they'll eat this stuff right down, and I'll just add in some more oats for them, because it actually just did recently. 'Cause they'll take that right down. But it's real easy. Oh, the other thing I do is I put the tubs inside. These two bottom cages are empty now, right now. So, and they're heated. So I put this tub with the beetles, which would be the youngest and maybe not hatched yet mealworms, I put right directly on the heat, which the heat runs on this side. So I keep them right on that heat. And it's sitting at right about 89 degrees on that heat. And then I keep another set on the other side here on the heat, the whole thing's actually heated in there, but the hot spot's right there. But I'll put this one there, and then the oldest ones I don't put on the heat. But I guess they're supposed to grow faster, and they seem like they're growing pretty good, because we've got plenty of mealworms right now. Hopefully that helps you out. I don't know. A lot of rambling, but thanks for watching.